Hi there. Okay, so hopefully you watched the last video. I was talking about spiritual causes for anxiety and worry in the last one. So this one I'm going to be talking about spiritual causes for confusion and indecisiveness and uncertainty. Or let's just say confusion and indecisiveness. But anyway, not speaking about, like, I mean, if this is your first video, I'm not really getting into the obvious reasons for confusion or indecisiveness, not the, just the obvious things that we know about confusion and why we're confused about something. And usually we pertain it to our external um, circumstances or issues or dilemmas. But this is more of like a deeper a deeper reasons. Okay, so spiritual causes of confusion. So if you happen to be confused like pretty much all the time and indecisive and you can't seem to make a decision and you can't seem to um, grasp what it is that you want or what you're looking for, or you can't figure out the why of everything, or the why of you and the why of why your life is the way it's going, or why confusion. Okay, so I'm going to get into those reasons. The first reason that I want to get into, okay, I just have a list here just to make sure I remember each point, is a distrust for the inner voice, or not just a distrust, but in unawareness that you actually have the answers inside you, which is your inner voice. Okay, so if you do not know that the answers are already within you and your inner voice is what tells you these answers, or you distrust what you know is your inner voice and the answers it's telling you, you're going to have confusion and indecisiveness. Okay, now if you know what an intuition is, and I'll just briefly explain what it is. Intuition really is your inner voice. It can be what a lot of people call instincts, and it's very, that's very understandable why it would be called instincts, because animals also have it too. Okay, I would say that instincts is more geared toward hmm, the instincts of how nature has built us in order to survive and in order to stay alive. Okay, and of course intuition does the same thing too, but intuition I think is a little bit more complex. It's not so primal based and survival based as a lot of people you know parallel it to instincts. Okay, but I think it's a little bit more complex. Okay, intuition is really your inner knowing. It's your inner knowing. It is that part of you, or the piece of the divine that's inside of you, that tells you what it is that you need to know about everything in your life. It has all the answers, all of it. Okay, so it knows what's best for you. It knows your own desires. It knows where you want to go. It knows what is not right for you, what you shouldn't waste your time on. What, you know what I mean? It's your intuition tells you at every turn which way to make. Every corner, it will tell you, you know, whether to watch out or whether to wait. And this is where the instincts come from. So I get that, but I just see a little bit of a variance with instincts and intuition, because I think intuition is really a little bit more than survival. In fact, I think it's a lot more than survival. It's about success, happiness, fulfillment, peace, of course, self-preservation and survival, but it's more than that. It has all the answers you're looking for. Even if you want to find the perfect dress, your intuition knows where that dress is. Your intuition knows when your dress will be on sale. Your intuition knows, you know, what will be the perfect job for you. Your intuition knows where you're to make the next turn to achieve your goals. That's your intuition. Okay, so if you don't know that you have this knowledge on the inside, or you don't know how to access it, or you don't trust it, you're you're pretty much at a loss. You're not going to have the advantage of utilizing that information you already have on the inside. So there are people that do know that they have an inner voice, but they don't trust it. Because what happens is your inner voice is not very um, it does not like to explain itself. It tells you very briefly what to do. Most likely it gives you the information in steps, so it just tells you to do one thing at a time, but it doesn't give you all the information. And what happens is that when people don't get all the information that they need or they want, they immediately think, okay, this is crap. This doesn't make, you know what I mean? Why am I going to do this and why am I going to do that? Especially because, as well, your intuition many times tells you to do things that seem really stupid. It seems stupid, but it's true and it makes sense in the larger scheme of things. And it's always right. But if we're using our rational mind and we're thinking to ourselves, how can that get me to where I'm trying to go by doing this? You know what I mean? Like, for example, this is an example. This obviously does not make any sense. Your intuition tells you to blow up a balloon so that you can lose weight. So you're saying, okay, I want to lose weight, and your intuition's telling you to blow up a balloon. And you're like thinking, why the hell would I blow up a balloon to lose weight? But what you don't know is you blowing up the balloon may exercise some certain muscles inside and you might lose weight. That's just an example. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, that's what the intuition is because it tells you what to do because it knows all. So when we don't when we distrust it, when we don't trust it, you're going to be confused. You're going to be indecisive. You're not going to know what to do because there's only so much you can see and only so much you can interpret here in this physical reality. It's not, you can't see everything. So that's one of the reasons. Either you don't trust your inner voice, or you don't have an awareness of your inner voice, or this is another two different variations of what I'm saying, is that you're not able to recognize it. So you don't know it. You don't know what it sounds like. You're not able to recognize it. Okay? Or like I was also saying with distrust, but you're unwilling to. You may actually know what the inner voice sounds like, but you're unwilling to actually follow it. You're unwilling. You don't want to. Maybe you think you know better. That can go with distrust. I would say it would go with distrust, but there still is variations of that. But there's an unwillingness. Maybe you do know that it knows best, but it's telling you to do something that you really don't want to do. So you just say, I don't want to do it. You're unwilling. So you distrust. You haven't, you don't have the ability to right now at this point to recognize the voice of your intuition. Okay. You are unwilling. You're unwilling to listen to that voice or recognize it. You're just unwilling. Okay. Those are the reasons for the first point. The second point is and this is another not so popular thing that people talk about, but especially if you're very sensitive to energy, you're very sensitive energetically to other people and to their emotions and their thoughts and their issues and their problems. Okay. You're just a helper, you're a caregiver, you're a lover, that type of person. This is the next point. And this is something that's really unique. A lot of people don't talk about it, but I know this happens a lot. Sometimes your confusion comes from not you trying to solve your own issue, but I think you know where I'm going with this. You trying to solve other people's issues. So somehow you've absorbed their issue energetically. You've taken it on. Sometimes, no, many times you're not even aware that you're doing it, but perhaps you're in a codependent relationship or you're very, very close to someone, and you guys are like two peas in a pod kind of thing, and you're very sensitive, you're very, very empathic, you're very caring, and you take on someone else's stuff. Or you can consciously take on someone else's problem. You just take on their issue mentally, consciously, you take it on. But that is one reason why you can be very confused and indecisive, because at the end of the day, that issue that you're dealing with or that problem you're trying to solve is really not yours. It's not yours. You've taken it on, but you cannot solve it, or you're confused as to how to solve it because it's not yours. And you can't, because your higher self knows. Okay, even though, because sometimes it can be a very thin line between your stuff and someone else's stuff, and you can take on someone's stuff to the degree that you don't even realize that it's not even your stuff anymore. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So then you sit there and you try to work it out and you try to fix it and you try to make it better, but then you end up even more confused than you already were. You end up even more frustrated than you already were. You can't make a decision, or you make a decision and it still doesn't work out, and da 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 da, because it's not even yours in the first place. It's not your issue. And I think specifically, I think spiritually, it's designed that way, where we're not supposed to be responsible for other people's problems. We're not. Everyone has their own lessons, their own soul lessons to learn from, their own issues, their own stuff that they have to deal with themselves. So spirit, I believe, set it up that way on purpose, so that when you are taking on other people's problems, you will never be able to solve it, because it's not yours to begin with. Now, there's a vast difference between you taking on someone's problem, like just taking it onto you, and you taking responsibility for it, and you trying to help other people or trying to guide or trying to support. That's different. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between you working with someone to help them. Perhaps it's a profession of yours, or it's just something that you're doing because it's someone you love. There's a big difference with trying to help someone and then just taking it all on for you and making it become your issue. You're not going to be able to solve it because it's not yours to solve. It's not yours to solve. It's really not. And most likely you're going to become very frustrated and angry and confused and indecisive about what it is that you're doing. Okay? So those are the 2 points right there. No, there's more. I don't want to make it sound like that's only 2 points. Okay, so the first one is distrust. Okay, inability to recognize or unwillingness to follow the guidance that's within you. Okay, and the point that I just finished talking about is you taking on other people's stuff. Okay, now the third point is, this is another one. I should have put this after the first point, but that's just how life is. Whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time. But in terms of your inner voice, sometimes if you are the person if you know your inner voice, and you know you have an inner voice, and you know you have an intuition, okay, there are periods in your life where it's hard for you to distinguish between your inner voice and your ego, which is just your mind, your rational mind, the one that just chatters away and talks stuff that are not even true. It's a fear-based stuff that's coming out of your mind. Sometimes we are unable to distinguish between our ego and our higher self and our intuition. And that can cause confusion. And, sometimes, I know this happened with me. Sometimes when I'm really not in tune, I mistaken my ego for my inner self. And I followed the guidance that my ego was saying. And then it turned out to be a big mistake or a problem, or it turned out to not be true. So then I unknowingly, okay, said to myself, okay, well, my inner self doesn't work, or my intuition doesn't work. And this is where you can get the distrust, or the unwillingness to follow your intuition because you don't trust it. You think, oh, it's hogwash. You know what I mean? It sent me down the river and up the bank, and I still ended up broke or whatever. So that's another thing, is because sometimes it's really hard to distinguish between your higher self and your ego. Because if you're not really in tune, you might mistake it. If you're not aware, if you're not stable, if you're not calm, you might mistake it a lot. Okay? Okay, so that is the third point. What's the fourth point? Yes. The thing is now, this is a scenario that I wanted to bring up to you because sometimes when we happen to go through life and things are going very nicely, things are going great, and then all of a sudden, kaboom, or not really kaboom, but bam, or whatever, you hit into a circumstance or a situation or an obstacle that leaves you confused, or leaves you in bouts of confusion, or something just comes out of the blue and you don't know what to do, and oh gosh, should I do this and should I do that, or what am I to do, how do I fix this, and this is what happens. Okay, and sometimes this is an indication of a major shift in your life, or a major change. And when you come into major changes or shifts, okay, it's going to confuse you because you are confronted with the unfamiliar. You're confronted with situations that really you don't know, you don't have a point of reference. So you can become really confused and indecisive about what you are to do because it's new. What are you going to do? All right. So a major shift is another thing that can cause you to feel confused and indecisive because you don't know. You're in the middle of a shift. You're in the middle of something that is very major. Okay. And also that your confusion can be a sign of a breakthrough too, where you are hitting these obstacles and issues and situations. Maybe there is a breakthrough that's coming, that's underway, an answer perhaps, or you're going to get what it is that you really desire. Okay, and then through all the turmoil and the turbulence and all this new unfamiliar stuff, it can cause you to feel confused. So it could be a major shift, and a major shift can lead to that breakthrough or that answer being underway, and that can cause a lot of confusion and indecisiveness. Okay, and another reason too, I don't know if this is one point or like three different points, but I'm kind of expansive in the way that I like to talk about things, but another point could be too, and I found this within myself, is that, like I was saying, when you're going through the progression and everything's great and everything's wonderful, and all of a sudden you hit something, sometimes the universe puts up these obstacles and issues and chaos and trouble and problems because it wants to test your resolve within yourself. Okay? It wants to test your resolve. Perhaps you can be making a decision or going down a path where the universe is asking you, is this really the road that you want to take? Is this really what you want to do? Is this what you're really asking for? So it tests your resolve by giving you these obstacles so that you can unconsciously say to the universe, to yourself, yes, I really want this. And you have to still go through those issues or problems or obstacles to get what it is that you really, 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 really want. Okay? On the other hand of this, the other end of this, perhaps that this decision or this path or this course that you're taking, you are not completely solid in it, you're not stable in it. So the universe is testing your stability and your decision, like I was saying, your decision in your path, okay, for this. And perhaps you're not quite stable, you're not quite sure, or you're not, this is not really what you want. So when that obstacle comes, or that issue comes up, it's going to knock you right off and make you confused and saying, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe you know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't go down this path. Or, it sends you into a panic because you're not stable and you're not sure. So the universe is saying, okay, well, this is really what you want. And then you decide, nah, this is not really what I want. Or it confronts you, it gives you a thing, okay, that you have to confront, that makes you realize that this is not, I don't want to go any further down this path. I don't want to do any more because I'm realizing that this is not right for me, or I'm realizing I'm getting a little taste of what it is that I'm going for, and it's not what I want. So I hope you understand what I'm saying with that. So, all of these different reasons can cause chaos or confusion and indecisiveness. Is you having to go through major shifts, going through changes, um, perhaps an answer or breakthroughs on the way, or you're being put into a scenario, the universe puts you into a scenario or tests you and tests your resolve as to whether you want this or whether you don't want it. If you want to continue down this path or you don't. Or it's giving you an option as to saying, okay, this is not the only path you can take. There's something better for you. Are you sure you want to go down this path? That type of thing. And if this is what you want, do you have the determination? Do you have the stability? Do you have the um, do you have the, you know, determination, resolve, stability, tenacity to overcome this or pass the test so that you can get what it is that you want? Do you get what I'm saying? So this is how the universe tests us. Okay, confusion and indecisiveness. But I think overall, change is really a massive thing. Change is huge. Change is huge. Massive. Okay? Change is a massive reason for confusion and uncertainty, indecisiveness, and whatever like that. That type of thing. Okay, so the fifth point is, and I think if you watch my last video, I was talking about having an insufficient chakra. Insufficient chakras can, or insufficient working chakra. I'm not going to talk about the chakra again in this video because you might as well go to the first one and watch that because it's not really efficient. I said in my last video, but it's an energy center. Okay. And if it's not working within you, within yourself, it's going to disrupt certain things that it has dominion or responsibility over. Okay. So the last video I was talking about a solar plexus chakra. This one I'm going to be talking about a solar plexus, the solar plexus chakra as well. Okay. Because that can also cause confusion and indecisiveness as well. Solar plexus chakra. But yes, I'm going to make another video about the solar plexus chakra. But the solar plexus chakra, if it's not working efficiently, one of the symptoms is that you will feel confused and indecisive, not sure of yourself, not, solid within your ability to tap into your intuition. And that's another thing about the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, is that it is the intuition. It's responsible for intuition and how you tap into your intuition and use it for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, solar plexus chakra. That can be another reason why you are in a state of confusion and indecisiveness all the time. All right. So, and the last point, just like the last video was saying, um, sometimes we can have an attack, what they would call a psychic attack, or you have negative influences, getting into your mental and emotional spaces, entities or thought forms, or um, just disembodied spirits getting into your mind and wreaking havoc in your mental and emotional space. Okay? I'm going to get into more videos like this. I'm just listing the things that I've learned and I've experienced and I've read about, all of these different things that happen to us emotionally and mentally. Okay, and sometimes it's really not as practical as we think it is. It's not as surface as we think it is. And I like to go deep, and I realize that you have to go deep to really get the origins of certain things. So these are the deep origins or the deep reasons for some of these issues. Okay, because if you tried practical methods and practical traditional ways of, you know, ridding yourself of confusion and indecisiveness and not being able to get a grip on yourself, and it hasn't worked, and you've worked on the mental and you've worked on the emotional and you just worked on the practical ways, planning and writing down the pros and cons, those type of things where you have to write down the pros and cons with the two columns and you can't figure it out and you still can't figure it out, and you know what I mean, we do all these different things, or we ask other people, or we whatever, we go to a psychic. Psychics can help you too, not to say that psychics can't, but what I'm saying is that we have to go deep within ourselves to know that, to know the reasons why we may be so confused and indecisive all the time. Okay, so those are just some of the reasons that I came up with, and hopefully that some of them resonated with you or rang a bell or helped you out in some way. But yeah, that's just something that I wanted to make a video about. So hopefully that helped. And I'll be making another one very soon. So have a good day.